From a hidden stockpile of recordings and documents, DayZ Story number 3006. The story opens in the desolate woods of Livonia. Two enemies stalked each other, their vendetta etched into the very soil beneath their feet. Luka and Irena had crossed paths more times than either could count, each encounter leaving scars both visible and hidden. Luka was a hardened survivor, his beard wild and eyes hollowed by months of near starvation. Irena, a former soldier, moved like a ghost, her steps silent, her aim deadly. They first encountered each other at the ruins of a small farmstead. Luka was scavenging for supplies when Irena ambushed him, a bullet grazing his arm as he dove for cover. He returned fire, forcing her to retreat. From that day on, they became locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Weeks turned into months, and neither could gain the upper hand. They knew each other's tactics, could predict each other's moves, and yet the hatred between them grew with every encounter. But on a cold, misty morning, the game changed. Luka had tracked Irena to an abandoned village, its buildings crumbling and overgrown. As he moved cautiously through the streets, he noticed something was off. The air felt heavy, unnatural. Then he saw them, the infected, but they were very different, twisted by something dark, their eyes glowing with an eerie light. There were too many of them, far more than usual, and they moved with a frightening coordination. Luka realized with horror that this was no ordinary horde. Something was controlling them. He heard the unmistakable sound of gunfire and knew it was Irena. Against every instinct, he followed the noise. He found her on the rooftop of a dilapidated building, surrounded by the infected. Her rifle barked with precision, but it was clear she was overwhelmed. Luka had a choice: finish what he started months ago, or save her. He chose the latter. Taking out his shotgun, Luka blasted his way through the infected, reaching the building just as Irena's ammo ran dry. She turned to face him, her expression a mix of surprise and resignation, but there was no time for words. The infected were closing in. Luka tossed her a spare magazine, and they fought side by side, back to back, the years of training and survival instincts kicking in. After what felt like an eternity, the last of the infected fell. The village was silent once more, save for their heavy breathing. "We need to find out what's causing this," Luka said, his voice gruff but sincere. Irena nodded, understanding that their feud was insignificant compared to the new threat they faced. Reluctantly, they agreed to a truce. Together, they tracked the source of the infection to a hidden military bunker deep in the forest. Inside, they discovered an experiment gone wrong, an attempt to control the infected that had spiraled out of control. The bunker was a nightmare of twisted bodies and shattered equipment. In the heart of it all, they found the control device, still active and pulsing with a dark energy. It was drawing the infected to it, making them stronger, more coordinated. Luka and Irena set aside their differences to destroy the device. As they worked together, their animosity slowly faded, replaced by a grudging respect. They were no longer enemies, but allies against a common enemy. With a final explosion, the device was destroyed. The infected scattered, their unnatural coordination broken. Luka and Irena emerged from the bunker bloodied but alive. They stood in the forest, the morning sun breaking through the mist. For a moment they were silent, the weight of their shared ordeal hanging between them. "This doesn't mean we're friends," Irena said, her voice firm but lacking the previous venom. "Of course not," Luka replied, a hint of a smile playing on his lips, but they both knew things had changed. In a world where trust was scarce and survival was everything, they had found something more valuable, an understanding. And in the harsh land of Livonia, that was more than enough. Transmission ended,